pointing that gun at me?
The school is safe thanks to us. Here's the damn phone.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for 30 American behaviors that seem insane to the rest of the world.
Terrorists, your game is through, 'cause now you have to answer to America.
Number 30, expect huge portions.
Take as much as you want. If you want to come back for seconds, you can come back for seconds.
If you're an American who's ever eaten outside the US, you might notice something weird. Your plate isn't the size of a steering wheel. In the States, it's totally normal for a single entree to feed 2 people, maybe even 3. Foreign visitors are often stunned by the sheer mass of food that hits the dinner table, more so when it comes with bottomless soda and a free bread basket.
This is the amount of French fries in one serving. So that looks like maybe 4 or 5 servings of French fries.
A large fry in the US is about 46% bigger than the British version. American large pizzas have 31% more surface area. In America, value basically means volume.
Oh, what is this?
What did you order?
What has been placed in
What did
front
you
of
do?
Number 29, obsess over the stars and stripes.
I'm gonna kick some butt. I'm gonna drive a big truck. I'm gonna rule this world. I'm gonna kick some ass. I'm gonna rise up. I'm gonna kick a little ass. Rock, flag, and eagle.
In America, the flag is one part national symbol, one part branding strategy. You'll see it flying over schools, gas stations, front porches, car dealerships, beer cans, and the occasional pair of boxer briefs. For many foreigners, the sheer volume of flags feels more like propaganda than patriotism.
The flag is so important that its history tells the story of America itself. It symbolizes our freedom, our dignity, and the true meaning of being an American.
In the US, though, it's just Tuesday. While other countries display their flags on national holidays, Americans do it year-round. The Founding Fathers could never have envisioned the lever of commercialization their design would lead to. That Stars and Stripes branded gear is technically against the flag code never factors into it. In the US, the Stars and Stripes are forever.
When I see the flag, immediately I look at the stars, and the stars to me not only represent individual states, but individuals themselves.
Number 28, shop at superstores.
In this one store alone, that's 1,100 gallons of milk, 400 varieties of cheese, 250 kinds of beer, and 3/4 of a ton of beef every day.
In most countries, you pop into a store for groceries or light bulbs. You're in, you're out. In America, you can enter a superstore and emerge 3 hours later with a kayak, a 50-pound bag of dog food, and a vague sense of disorientation. Walmart, Target, Costco. For people unused to them, they're less retail spaces and more retail experiences.
Step into the new town square, a coffee shop, a sushi bar, even an opera house.
A trip for batteries can now include a food court, a pharmacy, and the temptation of a flat screen the size of a door. Foreign visitors often describe them like indoor cities. TikToks from bewildered Europeans walking the aisles are basically travel documentaries. For Americans, it's all about convenience. For everyone else, it can feel like a consumerist fever dream with free samples.
You have more opportunity to get the customer to buy something else while they're in the store.
Number 27, indulge in college sports mania.
Under the bright lights and booming roar, University of Miami fans know who they're here to see.
Too much of the world, college is a place for lectures and cheap beer. In America, it can also mean mega-sized stadiums, multi-million-dollar coaches, and ESPN coverage. American college sports are a full-blown cultural institution. People paint their faces, tailgate at 9 a.m., and schedule weddings around game time. For many foreigners, the idea of student athletes playing in packed arenas is totally bizarre.
Ready to go with the second half now. The Wolves trailing 10-0. We're told Joe Kane will be starting at quarterback.
You've got 18-year-olds performing for fan bases more intense than most pros ever face. Throw in marching bands, bowl games, and Final Four brackets, and it can seem completely out of hand. In America, higher education doesn't just mean academic achievement. It also means screaming yourself hoarse over a 19-year-old point guard.
Recruiting is like any other sales business. We've got to win to keep our jobs. We've got to fill the arena to keep our jobs. And if we don't, they fire us.
Number 26, be so loud.
Banned loud American tourists? No, because loud American tourists annoy me too.
Do you think it's unfair for them to kind of categorize the Americans in such a way?
Not really.
Wherever there is an American outside of the United States, you are likely to get the same complaint. You can hear them before you see them. Whether it's in a restaurant, a museum, or a train car, Americans have a volume setting that seems permanently stuck on "I'm getting no reception on my phone."
Compared to last summer, a whopping 55% increase in U.S. tourists jamming up landmarks from Paris to London and Venice to Rome.
In the U.S., being loud is often associated with confidence or friendliness. Abroad, it can come off as overbearing and obnoxious. Expats say they can pick out fellow Americans from across a plaza just by the decibel level. And while it's not every American, the stereotype exists for a reason.
Make him move, honey.
Boy, you got a face like a frying pan.
Come on, honey.
I don't think he speaks English. Hey, he moved.
Number 25. Consume so much coffee.
Chocolate chip cookie frappe.
White chocolate mocha.
Light and sweet with caramel.
And it usually takes more than 1 cup of the pick-me-up to satisfy.
In America, coffee isn't just a warm beverage to set a gentle tone for the day. It's a lifestyle, a coping mechanism, a desperately needed stimulant, and sometimes practically a personality trait. While most countries sip modest cups at a cafe, Americans are out here gripping venti cold brews like life preservers on a stormy sea.
Judith, I have a brand new latte for Judith.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a great day.
The coffee-to-go culture is especially baffling to outsiders. Walk through any U.S. city and you'll see people double-fisting caffeine like they're training for a speed-walking marathon. Americans will take it iced, blended, with syrups, oat milk, and motivational quotes on the cup. Other countries might enjoy coffee. Americans mainline it.
Fresh bean. Yeah, ooh, fresh. Jay? What? Pot of black? Pot of black.
Number 24. Practice helicopter parenting.
It's hysteria, she says. The world is safer today than it has ever been, even as the push to bubble wrap children keeps growing.
When it comes to parenting, the U.S. wasn't always an outlier. The latchkey kid generation of Gen X helped inspire the entire kids on bikes subgenre. But modern American parenting is a different story. In many parts of the world, kids walk to school alone, climb trees, and make their own sandwiches by age 7.
First you do it for them, then you do it with them, then you turn the tables and you watch them do it, and finally they can do it themselves.
In the U.S., many are strapped into 5-point harnesses, tracked by nanny cams, and kept indoors over fears of potential dangers. The term helicopter parenting was born in America, and for good reason. Many parents hover over their kids constantly, micromanaging their every move. Studies suggest this can hurt long-term development, which might be why children elsewhere often seem more independent and more well-adjusted.
It's nice to have someone else that's kind of serves as maybe a secretary mom.
Number 23. Use drivethrus.
Can I take your order? 55 burgers, 55 fries, 55 tacos, 55 pies, 55 cokes, 100 tater tots, 100 pizzas, 100 tenders, 100 meatballs, 100 coffees, 55 wings, 55 shakes, 55 pancakes, 55 pasta, 55 peppers, and 155 taters.
Okay, that'll be $680.
Okay.
In many countries, drive-thrus, if they exist at all, are mostly limited to fast food. In the U.S., you can stay in your car for just about everything. Coffee, pharmacy pickups, banking, booze, and even a Vegas wedding. Entire cities seem to be designed around the system of never having to leave your vehicle.
Some of the most popular fast food chains have drive-thrus to thank for strong growth. For instance, Wendy's started adding drive-thru windows in 1971, and restaurant experts credit them as one factor behind Wendy's fast expansion in the years that followed.
Chick-fil-A locations have multiple lanes, traffic cones, and headset-wearing employees that rival airport ground crews. The rise of mega drive-thrus is so intense that some U.S. cities are trying to ban new ones altogether. To many outside the U.S., it's convenience gone overboard. To Americans, it's Tuesday.
We have perfect communication with our customer. We can hear them very clearly as they place the order, making it easier for us to serve them accurately and quickly as well.
Number 22, drive constantly and often go vast distances.
For us, it's get on the road and you don't know what's going to happen.
For much of the world, a 3-hour drive is a long weekend trip. In the U.S., it might just be your weekday commute. For much of the world, particularly Europe, countries are relatively small and quickly traversed. When foreigners visit the States, they're often blown away by the massive size of the country.
I can't wait to get in this
How does this baby handle?
When you combine America's size with its car-first infrastructure, visitors are in for a culture shock. In the US, driving often isn't optional, it's expected. Americans will happily drive for hours for a concert, a good meal, or just cheaper gas. Public transportation is sparse, and walkability depends on your zip code. While some cities are making changes, the dominant vibe is still very much gas up and go.
And you put the load right on it.
Number 21. Spend exorbitantly on college tuition.
You give momentum to this notion of the student as customer when you charge them so much money for their education.
In many countries, college is affordable. Oftentimes, it's even free, seen as an investment in the future wellness of the citizenry and national economy. In the US, a college degree is often priced like a luxury product. Foreign students are routinely stunned by the cost of American higher education. Tuition alone can run $30,000 to $60,000 a year, not including housing, books, or emotional damage.
The issue in our country is that we don't fund higher education as if it's a public good, as if it's good for society.
While scholarships exist, the average American student still graduates with tens of thousands of dollars in debt. With increases to the cost of living, many never dig themselves out of that hole. Some international observers have compared U.S. universities to high-end businesses with dorm rooms.
Instead of competing on price, a lot of schools actually learned they could actually charge more, not less, if they could convince their students that they were prestigious.
Number 20. Refer to the USA as America.
America, America.
Outside of the United States of America, referring to the country as America is much less commonplace. After all, there are 2 entire continents called America, comprising like 35 distinct nations. Referring to only one country on one of those continents as America too is really confusing for anyone who doesn't live there.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
Calling it the US, USA, the United States, or just the States is much more common in the rest of the world. Even so, everyone still calls its residents Americans, which isn't confusing at all.
You can't say it, but you know it's true.
Number 19. Throw gender reveal parties. Cultures the world over have traditions to prepare expecting parents and celebrate the expected birth of a child.
Thank you so much for throwing me this baby shower, girls. I feel so welcome to the neighborhood.
Of course!
However, Americans have really taken the concept and run with it. An entire industry has been built around baby showers, as well as their modern relatives' gender reveal parties. Emerging in the 2000s, the latter have become infamous for sometimes absurd levels of showmanship. Some over-the-top reveals have been responsible for injuries and even disasters. They remain somewhat controversial, with many people, including Americans, not really getting why they're often made into such big deals.
I don't know why, but I'm gonna cry.
Oh my gosh, why are you gonna cry?
Because I'm just really happy for you.
You look like it.
You
look like you're happy.
Number 18. Experience huge bathroom stall gaps.
Right this way, sir.
God.
Every country's restrooms have their own quirks, like different sinks and toilet bowls. The US is known for having a high volume of water in their bowls and large gaps in their bathroom stalls, both under the door and between the door and the walls. Visitors can be taken aback at the lack of privacy. Some hold that they're designed for easy cleaning or construction. Others that it allows one to check which stalls are occupied, although occupancy indicators on the locks can do that too.
Maybe so you can see if there's someone in there.
Isn't that why we have locks on the doors?
Well, as a backup system, in case a lock is broken, you can see if it's taken.
A backup system?
It might also make it more difficult to get up to no good in there. Whatever the case, public bathrooms in the US are built for speed, not comfort.
Would you just sit down and go to the bathroom already?
Number 17. Have pharmacies that sell groceries. In most of the world, pharmacies sell exactly what their name implies: pharmaceuticals. While you will see tangentially related items like grooming products or hygienic things like toothbrushes, pharmacies don't usually carry food or toys. But in the US, that's much more common. The country is all about the all-in-one experience. Not only will dedicated grocery stores have pharmacies built in, but pharmacies will also carry groceries. Granted, the selection isn't always great, but if you're desperate for milk and the grocery store is closed or you just don't feel like crossing the street to get there, you can get some. While most of the world still limits drugstores to drugs and self-care products, we have a feeling this one might catch on. Number 16. Vote before they can drink. Worldwide, the age at which a person can legally drink alcohol is most commonly 18. The age usually considered to be adulthood, though it is even earlier in some countries. The voting age on a global scale is also generally 18, for similar reasons, although of course there are exceptions.
The Voting Rights Act of 1970 lowered the voting age to 18 for national elections, and the 26th Amendment made the change to 18 permanent for all elections.
And 18 is where it has stayed for the past 50 years.
However, the United States requires young adults to wait 3 years after being able to vote before legally being allowed to drink at 21. This was enacted during the 1980s to prevent alcohol-related driving accidents.
This law has been an abysmal failure. It hasn't reduced or eliminated drinking. It has simply driven it underground, behind closed doors, into the most risky and least manageable of settings.
While it helped in the short term, ultimately it hasn't really stopped teenagers from drinking. The result is that many people, both inside and outside the U.S., question the logic of why an 18-year-old American can decide who forms the government but not get buzzed.
The reality is everyone drinks before they turn 21. That's why when you go out for your first legal drink, you have to react with that faux surprise like you've never heard of alcohol before. Ooh, what does this alcohol taste like? Oh, it's unusual. Oh, this is true.
Number 15, get free refills. One of the biggest differences between American restaurants and the rest of the world are their drink services. Most American and many Canadian restaurants and other establishments will offer at least one free refill of a non-alcoholic drink.
Refill. Free! Where is it going?
The idea is that because of the low cost of drinks, particularly fountain soft drinks, offering a refill won't hurt the establishment's bottom line, particularly if drinks are not the primary source of income. However, the idea has been slow to catch on in the rest of the world, and it's nowhere near as consistently offered. Some countries have raised concern that a practice like this can lead to an increase in obesity. Number 14, tip service personnel.
All right, everybody cough up some green for the little lady. Come on, throw in a buck.
I don't tip.
You don't tip?
No, I don't believe in it.
While the concept of tipping waitstaff or other people in the service industry is known worldwide, few countries have embraced the concept to the degree the U.S. has.
Labor movements declare the practice undemocratic, and anti-tipping legislation was enacted across several states. But restaurants and rail operators like the Pullman Company embraced tipping because it allowed them, among other things, to hire recently freed slaves without having to pay them.
Many workers, particularly in the restaurant industry, rely on gratuities to get by, in part because laws allow managers to pay sub-minimum wages to tipped workers. However, in various other countries, tipping is seen as insulting. They're just doing their jobs after all.
Each year, Americans spend $40 billion on tips. That's more than we spend on foreign aid and more than we spend on gambling. And like gambling, it's not entirely clear that tipping makes any sense in the first place.
While some countries' workers certainly appreciate it, it isn't expected like it is in the U.S. Mostly because employees are paid a high enough baseline salary that they don't need tips to survive.
Restaurant owners still pay their servers less than minimum wage, turning what used to be a bribe into an obligation that makes the end of every meal suck.
Number 13, obsess over the military.
And I think I speak for the rest of the WWE. I certainly speak for myself. I would like to say thank you to all our men and women who choose to don the uniform of the United States military.
The American military is probably the best in the world, as it should be, since it's also one of the best funded militaries in the world. In fact, the U.S. spends several times more on their military than their nearest competitor, China. What's more, there are more than a few American citizens who have a higher than average fascination with their own military and its culture.
I thank you as your commander-in-chief because you inspire me. Your willingness to serve, to step forward at a time of war and say, send me, is the reason the United States stays strong and free.
While other countries certainly appreciate their troops, you don't, say, see as many people wearing camouflage as a legitimate fashion statement. Likewise, you don't see movies made elsewhere that glorify the military to the degree that the US does.
Do me a favor. Tell my children I love them very much. All right, you alien assholes! In the words of my generation, up
Part of the American enthusiasm is certainly rooted in patriotism. Still, it may also be a reaction to an increasingly anti-military sentiment that has popped up over the last several decades.
No war, okay? No war, okay? Oh, here you go, boys. These will help you protest. It's good to see that you care about peace, boys, okay?
Number 12. Use red plastic cups. If you've ever seen an American movie where a college party happens, chances are you've seen characters drinking from red cups.
Come on, dude. Right here. Yeah!
These red plastic or solo cups are everywhere in the US. The cheap drinking containers are a favorite at parties, both for their durability and their ease of use in party games. While they're also handy for crafts or gardening, they're most famous for their intended purpose. However, the rest of the world either doesn't have the United States party culture's emphasis on kegs or lacks the same distinctive cups, originally manufactured by the Solo Cup Company. At most, you might see them at a novelty American-themed party. Number 11. Wear shoes inside. Taking off your shoes before you enter a home, or at least in the entryway, is pretty common etiquette in many countries.
Don't do that. Why'd you take your shoes off? So I don't break your nose.
And while many Americans do prefer to keep footwear off their floors, it isn't a hard and fast rule like it is in other places. Often it will depend on whether the person has carpeted floors or hardwood floors, with the latter considered easier to clean. Since it's not considered the norm, though, asking guests to take off their shoes indoors can come across as rude or fussy, and so is often avoided. Number 10. Eat peanut butter as their go-to spread. Peanuts are grown and eaten in many parts of the world. But it's the United States and Canada that do most of the peanut butter eating.
Peanut butter man now, eh, sir?
Yes, I believe I am. I thoroughly enjoy this peanut butter.
A lot of countries see it as a niche or even unpleasant taste. Others have a spread that is more culturally ingrained, like Nutella. The USA cannot get enough of peanut butter, though, consuming over 1 billion pounds of it annually. January 24th is even National Peanut Butter Day. It's a cheap source of protein that most American children grow up eating, so it's no wonder that it's a comfort food for many of them. Number 9. Work too much. Americans are workaholics, at least compared to basically every other country in the world. The majority of Americans work more than 40 hours a week.
Why do we do this to ourselves? Well, the conventional answer is that this attitude towards work makes the American economy the envy of the world. America is a hectic, turbocharged system that builds, destroys, rebuilds, all at warp speed.
They also tend to lack many of the things the rest of the world takes for granted, like paid holidays, as well as sick and parental leave. Research has shown that happier, less stressed workers do better at their jobs. Iceland even recently tried a 4-day work week that proved wildly successful.
There's lots of other benefits to a 4-day working week. It's not just the it's not just the mental health and economy, good for the economy. It's also environmental benefits too. Evidence looks like when we're commuting less as a result of a 4-day week, that brings down emissions. Also, energy consumption goes down. So this is a policy that's win-win for the environment, for workers, for employers. What's not to like about it?
Several European countries take long breaks for lunch. While the American drive is admirable, grind culture becomes problematic when it costs workers their mental health and well-being. Number 8. Make small talk with strangers. Americans are known for their friendliness towards strangers, especially outside of big cities. It's not uncommon for Americans to smile at each other in passing, but their comfort with new people also extends to small talk, saying hello or even striking up a conversation out of the blue.
If you are seated in an emergency exit row, and feel you would be unable or unwilling to perform the duties listed on the safety card, please Please ask a flight attendant to reseat you.
In many countries, speaking to strangers unprompted can be seen as intrusive or even risky. Many Americans are masters of the art, though, often happy to chat with people they've never met about the weather, sports, or whatever else comes up in conversation.
It looks like a carrot, honey.
What looks like a carrot? Hi.
Number 7. Casually own guns. In many countries, gun laws are strict and gun ownership is relatively rare. In the US, gun ownership is protected by the Second Amendment, and gun ownership is the highest in the world. Despite making up 4% of the global population, Americans own 46% of civilian-held firearms. There's a distinct gun culture, where gun ownership is celebrated or at least seen as important for personal safety. Most states even allow you to open carry.
But it's a lucky thing I had my pieces.
Your pieces?
My guns.
Oh.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bam! Bam!
Of course, the issue is extremely divisive due to the country's high rate of gun deaths. Either way, the idea of having so many guns around is a novel one for many visitors.
Guns. Lots of guns.
Number 6. Put sales tax on everything.
Sales tax is paid when you buy something, and the business you purchased your goods from sends that money to the government. There are 2 types of sales tax: general sales tax and excise taxes. General sales tax is a tax levied on most goods you buy. Excise taxes are taxes levied only on certain items.
Most countries enact a value-added tax, or VAT, on goods or services purchased within their borders. These taxes are collected from every person in the supply chain, from the distributors to the consumers. The United States is one of the few to use sales tax, which not only vary wildly from state to state, but are only enacted after a purchase has been made.
The state treasury depends on sales taxes to pay for road repairs, education, and medical care for children, seniors, and the poor.
They're also not listed in the initial price, which can leave foreign visitors and many Americans scratching their head as to why they're being charged more than the price on the product. Better or worse? You decide. It's certainly more confusing.
What's the advice then? If you're going to buy a big ticket item, where's the cheapest sales tax?
Well, you can go online and look at all the sales tax rates for different cities, and if you look at one dealership or one, Best Buy or something like that, you can find the different zip codes and look at the sales tax rates and just see how much that'll take off, and then take your family out for a nice night.
There you go.
Number 5. Recite a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
In many parts of the United States, school children, and adults in some settings, are expected to recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Back then, in 1892, when it was written by Francis Bellamy, Bellamy was a Baptist minister, and in conjunction with a magazine called The Youth's Companion, he wrote this, at that time, 23-word Pledge of Allegiance.
This is an expression that they will be loyal to the USA, and is usually performed daily while looking at the nation's flag, which you will find hanging everywhere, by the way. This isn't something other countries do. They might salute or respect their flag and country, but to make school children recite an oath to the country? The pledge has been the subject of plenty of controversy within the US too, particularly since it mentions God. While some schools no longer require it, it remains a widespread practice.
Bottom line is, we all look different, sound different, but we are all on the same team.
Number 4. Watch ads for prescription drugs. Aside from New Zealand, the United States is the only country in the world that advertises prescription drugs directly to consumers. Every day, Americans are bombarded with ads for prescription medications, featuring generic, pleasing imagery and a list of side effects longer than a flagpole.
Side effects may include upper respiratory infection, stuffy or runny nose, and sore throat and headache.
Many people, Americans included, are baffled by the practice, as doctors and not patients are meant to decide what drugs to prescribe. Proponents claim that advertising increases competition and lowers drug costs. Meanwhile, prescription drugs are typically far more expensive in the United States, as the U.S. doesn't regulate or negotiate drug prices. Number 3. Put months before days. Most of humanity marks calendar dates as being day first, then month, then year.
It's the date. Assuming the first 2 numbers are some big old space date, then you've got year, month, day. It's the other way around like it is in America.
Or else the opposite as year, month, then day. The reasoning is that you can go from the shortest value to the longest or vice versa. Yet the United States and parts of Canada eschew both these formats by putting the month first, then day, then year. The US has been using this format basically since its founding, although it has used the day first format interchangeably too. The exact reason why is debatable, but as far as practicality goes, it can be useful when filling out forms to know which month it is before which day or year. Number 2, go bankrupt from healthcare. Medical costs are the cause of over 60% of all bankruptcies in the United States.
In 2017, 1/3 of the money raised on GoFundMe went towards medical campaigns. And the site raises $650 million a year for more than 250,000 medical campaigns.
Americans experience a variety of unexpected charges while getting much-needed care, from surprise bills to being charged for riding in an ambulance.
According to one study, 71% of all ambulance providers do not take the patient's insurance. That same study found that 79% of patients who took an ambulance could get a surprise bill, with an average total around $450.
In some parts of the civilized world, even seeing a medical bill can be an uncommon occurrence. Healthcare worldwide tends to be much more regulated than it is in the US. It's either funded through taxes in a single-payer system or else through individual insurers who are more strictly monitored.
Other countries, they don't have this problem. Instead of every private insurance company negotiating with every healthcare provider, there's just this big list. Country, the central government, they go and they say, if you want to sell to us, to all of our people, then here's what you can charge for a checkup. Here's what you can charge for an MRI or a prescription for Lipitor.
Bottom line, while there can sometimes be extra charges, for most of the world, medical debt is basically unheard of, except in horror stories about the US.
Can't get a credit card. I can't buy a house. I don't see me ever being out of debt.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, use the imperial measurement system.
Can you explain to me?
Yes.
How the country that can send men and hopefully women to the moon.
Yeah, all and beyond.
Still are in gallons and inches.
Mm.
And when the entire world is metric, I do not understand this.
There are 3 countries in the world that don't use the metric system: Myanmar, Liberia, and the United States. Objectively, metric is the less arbitrary measurement system since everything goes by tens. Even Britain and Commonwealth countries have converted.
The point is, the US system has always been a little more accessible than metric. Sure, stacking up 12 thumb widths to make a foot, that's still kind of weird, but it's not so weird that we're clamoring to change it.
Although admittedly, they do still use measurements like feet and inches casually.
So now I can't ask a distance when I visit another country. I'm like, how far is that? They're like, that's 500 kilometers. I'm not in the Olympics.
So why hasn't the US converted? We'll give you one guess. Did you say it's because of money? Because money is definitely a big factor. Converting to a whole new system of measurement is expensive. Other factors include a need for control and stability of the US. So, inertia, basically. Why change when you don't need to? And you know what your mom says? If all the other countries jumped off a bridge, would the US do it too? Or something like that.
A 2015 Rasmussen poll asked Americans if we should switch to the metric system and adopt Celsius as our main temperature scale. 64% said no, while 21% said yes, and the remaining 15% was undecided. So it looks like we're perfectly fine with being different.
Is there anything more American than arguing over what is and isn't American? Let us know your favorite and least favorite all-American quirks in the comments below.
Some researchers just say, you know, we found what works, we like it, and if we were to change it now, it would cost a ton of money.